Oh, that was quicker than expected. I'm live. Okay, hold on. This tripod is not as large as I thought it was, so this is awkward. Poo. Well, hello. I will make this work. Um, I have enough old computers on the floor that I can balance this on. So, the purpose of this video, rather than me fiddling around with this tripod, is to show off some recent things that I picked up. So, let me deal with this first. Oh boy, you know, just my luck. Yeah, I think this is as tall as it goes. Huh? Nice view of my hat in the basement ceiling. Yeah, let me do something real quick. Let's move this stuff over here. All right, and then yeah, live YouTube action using a folding chair as a tripod. This is not a good idea. Anyway, bear with me for one moment, please, and we'll get this all sorted out. Okay, that's a little better. Now it's too high, see? There we go. That's not too bad. And we'll just do this here. And there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. That's not ideal, but it works. So let me fix this up a little bit so I'm not as tilted here. Much better. Okay, hey guys. All right, let's start over, huh? Shall we? Okay, so sorry, screen's here. I'm supposed to look here. So I've recently posted some things on Instagram. If you don't follow there, please do. Mac84 TV is where you can find me. And I always try and post what I find at thrift stores and flea markets or eBay and stuff. And I've been quite lucky on my finds recently, actually, and made a list because there's quite a few things here. So first and foremost, check Instagram, Mac84 TV. Probably said that already. Yeah, I did. But that's where I usually post things like this, things I find. But just want to go into a video here just to explain some of the things and what I found them for, what I thought was cool about them. And feel free to ask questions along the way. Type a comment. I'll try and get to it. But anyway, first off, the big things right behind me are 3 beautiful Power Macs. They are... oh, sorry, looking at the questions here too. Yeah, about the Duo Dock. I'll get to that in a sec. Yeah. So Power Macs here. So I have a G3, a G4, and another G4. And I'll tell you a little short story about how I found them. And you may notice there's a Apple Studio display over here too. That's a 17-inch model. So I was at a local flea market on Saturday this past weekend, and this display was on the guy's table. And I usually, don't really pick up the displays. One, I already have one, so I don't need it. 2, you never know what condition the display is in. If it's cracked, you don't know if it works, the inverter's bad, things like that. And 3, it's another screen. I don't need a proprietary screen. But I looked at it and I said to the guy, hey, do you know what this is for? And he says, yeah, I have some old Mac towers at home. And just sort of gave him the standard thing I usually say to the guys, just have some conversation between them, see if he has any Macs at home he wants to sell or any Apple stuff. And so he said he just brought the display, but he does have towers, and if I was interested, he'd try and bring them tomorrow. So I said, hey, that's cool. I'll be here tomorrow. So long story short, he brought these guys on his table the very next day. And I got a terrific deal on these 3 towers and the display. $60 for everything. That's US dollars for everything. And he even threw in a wireless keyboard too. So 3 towers and the display. I basically paid for the 2 towers and the display. He didn't know what to do with the G3 tower. I was honest with him. I told him I already had a few, so he basically threw that in. So he wanted me to give him $55. I had 60. I wasn't gonna, have him stiff him out another $5 for him bringing the trouble of bringing the towers in and everything. So I think that's a pretty good deal. Back in the day, I remember these going for 40 or 50 each. And when I say back in the day, I mean like 5, 10 years ago when they were still undesirable. So I think that was pretty cool. Let me go over the specs real quick because they are very interesting. They all turn on. All 3 Power Macs turned on. The display even turns on, but there's a little bit of an issue with that. So I'll actually boot them up in a sec. But what is cool is that they are fully loaded machines. Usually, I pick up a machine and the hard drive's missing, or the memory's missing, or there's no video card. And that makes up about probably 90% of my collection of these towers. They're all missing something. They're missing a hard drive, a video card, something's broken, something doesn't work. So it's really cool that all of these turned on. I was not expecting that. I did pop the lid open and look inside each one before I got it. But yeah, that was really cool. So let's go over the specs of these machines. So I wrote down little stickers up here. This is a 300 megahertz blue and white G3 tower. Has 128 megabytes of memory. Has a 6 gigabyte hard drive, an ATI 128 graphics card with 16 megs of memory, which is pretty cool. It has a SCSI Adaptec 2906 internal SCSI card, which is awesome. I don't think that's running the hard drive, but it's there, so that's pretty cool. Just a standard CD-ROM drive. I was surprised none of these have zip drives. Almost all the G4 towers I have and G3 towers I have, they have a zip drive in it. And I know it was an extra cost or custom configuration option, but it just surprised me because 9 times out of 10 I see these, they have a zip drive. Maybe with the exception of the mirror door model, but these two usually have zip drives. This has a hard drive that's 6 gigs. I already said that. Running macOS 8.6. So this machine had a lot of like photo editing software, Adobe Creative Suite stuff on there back before it was called the Adobe Creative Suite. So this thing was a powerhouse for somebody. There's a lot of pictures of multimedia magazines and stuff like that. This got a lot of use. So that's pretty cool to sort of see it intact the way it was. Somebody probably just upgraded it and said, I don't need this anymore. Didn't even wipe it. So it's kind of weird. Moving on to the G4, I originally thought, I don't really want this. It's another G4. I have maybe 3 or 4 of them in various states of working or not. And I just thought that, maybe I'll pass on this. Then I looked in the sticker on the back. It's not just a regular old G4. It's a G4 dual processor 450 megahertz model. So I was initially skeptical, and then I'm like, okay, I need this machine. I've been looking for a dual processor G4, the graphite models, for a while. Not just because I was curious about them, but it's like really one of the first, if not the first, dual processor Mac that Apple produced. So I was really curious about it. Runs OS 9, OS 10. So just kind of interested as far as my curiosity's sake of how the benchmarking software would run on it or how Photoshop works, and there were plugins and stuff. So I was really excited. That was a selling point for me. So this is a dual 450 megahertz CPU, 256 megs of RAM, so a little low in the memory, but I could upgrade that. Has a 30 gig hard drive, has an original Airport 802.11b card, which is pretty cool. Has a Rage 128 Pro 16 meg AGP graphics card, so that's nice. And yeah, it was running macOS 10.4.11, macOS 10 Tiger, and macOS 9.2. So hey, fully fleshed out machine, had a lot of software on there. Again, it seems like someone just stopped using the machine and they just sort of left it. So that booted up just fine. I was happy to see that. And the last machine here. So the last machine, thankfully the power supply works. And because I do have another mirror drive door machine where the power supply will work and then shut off. So I'm very lucky that this one actually turned on. So the specs of this one are a dual 867 megahertz G4. And that has a 128 gigabyte hard drive, 2 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce 4 MX 32 meg graphics card. Also has an 802.11b airport card in there, which is pretty cool. And I think that's running Leopard, so a later OS. But again, that thing was packed with software and shortcuts. That machine was probably still used up until maybe 8 or 9 years ago. It was look based on some of the dates on the files on there. That machine was still being used. So that was pretty cool. I was very excited. So what I'm going to do now is just do a quick, I'm going to turn one of them on just because I want to show you the display. So I'm going to grab this G3 out of the way, which is the lighter of the three. And just going to be very careful here because of the way I have this tripod situated. So sorry if the camera wiggles, as it just did. And then I have this dual G4. I'm going to, actually, let me open it up here. And I have some space here. And it's a little dirty. There's some dirt. It was a flea market. It was outside, so not perfect. But let's see. The question we have here: are all the optical drives OEM? I believe they are. I believe all the optical drives are straight from the manufacturer. I have no reason to believe they are not. They all look fine to me, and the machines look pretty much untouched. There's a lot of dust in there. But yeah, airport card right here. And let me see if I get this camera a little closer. I don't want to make anybody dizzy here, but I think it would be cool for you guys to get a closer look. So just pardon me a sec. There we go. All right, cool. So airport card here, which is neat. This is the dual processor card. So we have two processors here. That's why the heatsink is massive here. We have the ATI Rage 128 Pro graphics card here. You see there's a lot of dust. This thing has to be cleaned out. It's very, very dusty. There's an original 30 gigabyte IBM Desk Star, sometimes called the Death Star drives because their reputation of being reliable is a joke. And yeah, there's the original CD drive here. I think it's a DVD. Yeah, let me peek the front here. Usually you could just tell because most of them have a little DVD. I'm going to end up fudging this up here. Let me try. Yeah, it's a DVD-ROM. So this does have a DVD-ROM in it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that this thing, one of the comments is that they were amazed that it was running Tiger with so little RAM. Honestly, I was too, but it looks like, it could be that maybe the RAM was just taken out of the machine. So I don't know. There's a lot of dust in here. Maybe they were too cheap to upgrade. Maybe they cannibalized this for another machine. Who knows? But anyway, it's a really cool machine, and I was happy to pick it up. Just needs a good cleaning. Otherwise, it runs fine. So I was very, very pleased with that. So I'm going to put the camera back on a tripod here. I'm going to plug in the dual up here. It's not in the best condition. This beige one, not beige one, graphite. I know what I'm talking about. The words just don't come out of my mouth. Let's take this and borrow a power cord here. I will get to the rest of my list of everything. I'm just gonna take my time. I mean, if you guys don't mind, and I'll answer some questions along the way. So this, just look at the back of this G4 here. It also had this little DVI to VGA adapter, which is nice. This is pretty cool because it's actually quite long. Usually they're like half the size of this. So this will actually, again, I'll put the tape camera off the tripod. Because of the way the DVI port is here, there's this space. I'll get it. There's this space here, and so this adapter is actually long enough to fit there, so it's easier to plug in a monitor, unscrew it, all that good stuff. So I just thought that was a neat little thing. It's not, crazy. It just, it's interesting to see. If I could turn this the right way and get this back on. Hello. It's interesting to just, get little extras with the machine like that, Yeah, so why won't this, it would help if I would be screwing this in the right way, which I am now. I really need two cameras or something. So anyway, so that's pretty cool. So I'm going to put this in a position where I can plug it in. So I'm going to plug the power cord into the back here. And I'm going to plug the display in too. And I'll show you what I was looking at with the display. If I can untangle the cord here without dropping everything else that I'm holding. My desk is a mess here, but it works. So, of course, this is an ADC powered display. It gets its power from the Power Mac. No external cords or anything needed. Okay. So, get out of the way here. So, yeah. Let's see if I can move this slightly. There we go. Up and over. And the G4 towers I just put down. Does a tripod mount? How about that? Well, they kind of do if I do this. Yeah, so it's live video. What do you expect? All right, cool. So let's turn it on. It works. Ooh. Yeah, I think either the speakers are busted or there's some leaking capacitors, because that is not a normal startup chime. That's like the bass is turned all the way to 11 startup chime. The display works, but as you'll see, there's a blemish here, and there's some blemishes there. And after it boots up, I'll raise the brightness and bring the camera a little closer, and you'll see. I was disappointed in this, but I kind of didn't even expect the display to work. And since I didn't pay too much for it, I didn't really care. But maybe I could use the inverter from it or something like that. It is a 17-inch screen, I believe. I already have a 15-inch. I think I have two 15-inch models. But it's a nice display. It does work with this pattern. As a desktop, you don't really notice anything. I do not, silly me, I didn't plug the keyboard in. Let me just grab the keyboard from the desk. That is located conveniently behind the camera where the tripod is, which I'm carefully navigating not to unplug the Ethernet port from the, oh, here we go, from the computer. And, well, I don't need a keyboard. I'm just going to grab a mouse. So, there we go. My professional YouTubing abilities, as always. Thankfully, the display has two USB ports right behind the display. So you just plug in a keyboard or a mouse. Really nice. So I'm going to click OK here. If it wants to detect the mouse. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to go to System Preferences here. I'm going to raise the brightness just so you can see. Oh, yeah, there's a button here at the end. But anyway. So I'm going to, let me just open up Safari. Should open up with a blank white screen. So you can see here, there's a bit of a blemish right here. But it's not picking up on the camera. But also there's some weird lines. I mean, once it's on, you don't really notice it too much. So it's not that big of a deal. Would I use the display for like watching a video or something? No. But would I do that on this machine anyway? Probably not. Would I play a game on it? Yeah. I don't think there's any problem with it. It's a pretty good resolution, 1080 by 1024. And let's just look at the specs of this machine again. Yeah, dual 186. Dual 867 megahertz G4, 1 megabyte of L3 cache, and 2 gigs of RAM. So I'm going to just shut this down for a sec. Actually, I'm curious what optical drive is in here. Let's go to About This Mac and find out. I don't know if it was a DVD burner or not. Apple was really stingy with those for a while. They would sell you a combo drive that would read DVDs and burn CDs. But let's take a look. Yeah, it's a CD burner, not even a combo drive. But it says Apple shipping drive, so yes, that answers the question if it has the original drive in it. Yeah, but pretty good. The display's not trash. I mean, it still works. It's not ideal, but what are you going to do? So that about wraps it up for the Power Macs. I have a lot more stuff I want to go over, especially this Duo Dock. Let me do that next. Let me move this next to the Apple III here. Yes, that is an Apple III. Yes, it does work. And I actually am going to sell it. I like the machine, but I don't have a use for it. But I mean, it's a pretty nice Apple III. Has a profile hard drive and everything. I don't have the time to invest in it. I don't have the software, and that's about it. I mean, it's a neat machine. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have some more cash than to spend on things I'm interested in rather than having a machine I'm not. So, of course, the camera is always the opposite way of where I need things to be, so I'll just move this over. So, for those of you who don't know, this is a Duo dock. And what is that? It is essentially a ginormous docking station for the PowerBook Duo line of laptops. And I'm not going to be all Wikipedia on you, but it's pretty cool. I had one growing up. I had a secondhand PowerBook Duo laptop, which I will show you now. Unfortunately, the screen cracked years ago, as you can see. Terrible. And I took the hard drive out years ago. So this is a Duo 270C, a color model, and it's in rough shape. The hard drive's gone. But this was from my childhood, one of the laptops that I had. It was old then, it's still old. This is one I picked up in 2011. You can see the sticker from the flea market I got it on. PowerBook Duo 230, 40 megs of hard drive space, 32 megs of RAM. Pretty good, huh? System 7.6, bought it on March of 2011 at the Trento Computer Festival in New Jersey. I love that computer festival. The flea markets used to be huge. It used to be like 2 football fields. It used to be awesome. We'll do a video about that one day. Anyway, the point of this Duo dock is to act as a giant dock for the PowerBook Duo. And how does it do this? Well, there's a processor direct slot, a PDS slot on the back of the Duo here. And you'll notice the Duo doesn't really have any ports. It has a modem, it has a serial port, it has a power port. That's it. You can't even plug a mouse into it. You can buy one of these little micro docks, and this will give you like an ADB port for a mouse, or a SCSI port for connecting a CD-ROM drive or something. But yeah, I mean, these need ports essentially if you're going to use anything other than just, you know, typing up a Word doc or something. But essentially, this acts as a giant VCR, and the Duo dock the Duo computer slides right in. Unfortunately, the power supply on this does not seem to work. I just picked this up, actually, from someone on Reddit who said, I am moving, and I don't need this anymore. Will somebody come and take it? Didn't know about the condition, but I took it because they weren't too far away, and I had one when I was growing up. I don't have it anymore, and I thought that'd be cool to have. Maybe I can get it working. It seems that when I plug the power cord in, it just doesn't work. So it doesn't turn on. I don't know if there's a bad capacitor or something in there, but it's something I do want to fix. I thought that would be a fun thing to have in my collection. Unfortunately, it just sort of doesn't work right now, but that's something I hope to fix in the future. So there'll probably be a video of me tinkering around with that. Hopefully it'll work. Let me just move this back here a bit. Yeah, now you're not staring straight up my nose. Yeah, so it doesn't make any noise. It doesn't click. The power supply doesn't click or anything. It just doesn't turn on. I'm pushing the power button in the back using the keyboard button. So I don't know if I could find a part to replace it by or what. But anyway, that's the Duo dock. It's pretty cool. If you've never seen one before, look it up on Wikipedia. As a full array of ports. Why am I telling you to look it up? I can just turn the darn thing around. I'm just lazy. So let me unplug that and get this monitor out of the way and this keyboard. And so, whereas the Duo computer itself has like 0 ports on it, look at this thing. Look at, well, now look at this thing. Look at the ports on that. You have a power port, an ADB port, monitor port. Even if you have a black and white PowerBook, the monitor is color when you're plugging a color monitor, of course. Serial port for modem and printer, a SCSI port, audio in, audio out, a modem built in. This one even has a NuBus card installed. That's an Ethernet card. And yeah, it has 2 NuBus card slots, so you can install another display card if you wanted to. You could install a network card like this. What's the question there? No, it's an original Duo dock. Yeah, they did make a Duo dock 2 and a Duo dock Plus. The 2 had an upgraded lid, or you could buy a lid upgrade because the later PowerBooks had thicker screens and they couldn't fit in here. Actually, I think the 270C, or maybe it's 280C, one of them has a thicker screen that didn't fit in here, but my 270 actually slid in here. So maybe this has the lid upgrade. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, this thing is pretty cool because it has a floppy disk drive also on the side there. You can see that. And here's the bottom of it. Just looks very plain, but it's pretty cool. And you can even have an internal hard drive, an internal SCSI hard drive in there. So it's a really cool machine. I hope I can get mine working. It's unfortunate that it doesn't work, but it was free, so I really can't complain. So, so we just put that on the side over there because I don't want it to fall or get further damaged. Where's my list? I had a list. Here we go. A list of things I have to cover that I should be paying attention to. So we talked about the DuoDock. We talked about the Power Max. How many of you watched the video I did about repairing the or swapping the MacBook Pro display? I was live a few days ago, did that. Well, I'm still working on that. I wanted to put everything back together properly. But one of the issues was the battery. So I got it. I got that MacBook Pro. It had the box and everything, but the battery was busted. You can see it's all expanded. It's swelling. Hey, you watched it. Thanks. Appreciate it. So I got a new battery off eBay, a secondhand one. It's just, it's, wow, the lighting got terrible. But it looks very, very similar to the original battery. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the Apple logo on it. The only thing that sticks out is the little button here. On the original battery, it's silver. On here, it's just the same color as the rest of the battery, but I mean, look at them side by side. I was surprised by this. They looks pretty damn similar to me. So I'll plug it in, charge it up, see if it works. But I just wanted to give you guys an update for those who watched that I have a battery for it. So hopefully that'll be a machine I could type on or do some things on, or that's not too processor intensive and such. So again, moving the tripod so it's not right in front of me, but I guess I can't, but oh wait, here we go. Okay, so next thing on the list that I want to talk about. Oh, I got some stuff off eBay I wanted to look into. Thought that was cool. So this is an Ethernet card, and this is for the Macintosh LC series. And what's cool about this card is how cheap I got it for. And there's a lot of them on eBay, so I didn't steal anything from anybody or anything like that. There's plenty of them available, and I think the seller's name was Mac84, MACEFFECTS, and it has an Ethernet card and the floppy disk with the driver on it. So this is a Farallon Ethernet card. Don't know the exact model, but I'm looking forward to putting this in either Macintosh Color Classic or an LC 550 or Performa. Just want to see if it works. Probably does. Looks like new old stock, so it's sealed in this plastic wrap, which is pretty cool. I got this for, I think it was 12 or 13 US dollars shipped. You can't beat that. I mean, maybe it was a few dollars for shipping, but still, it's a very reasonable price for an Ethernet card. New old stock kind of thing, really cool. Okay, next thing I want to talk about. Sorry, just going through at a blazing speed here. I have some really cool stuff to show you, so please don't stop watching. Oh, this I got from a computer festival, the one I usually go to, unfortunately, is downsizing. And it has been downsizing for years, but it's finally pretty sad. It's in one indoor room. It used to be 2 football fields. The Trenton Computer Festival in Trenton, New Jersey is like the longest computer festival and flea market running in the United States. And I got this there. And the minute I saw this, thanks to the purple heatsink, I knew exactly what it was. It's a processor upgrade for Macintosh computers. And when I saw this, I asked the guy, "Do you know what this is?" And he said, "Yeah, I think it's a video card." And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, I guess that's, something you guess, but there's no ports on this thing. How would it plug into a monitor? But that was his guess. And I asked what he wanted for it. He said $20. And so I was actually setting up a table there to sell stuff, and I didn't really make any money yet. And there weren't too many people there, so what I ended up doing was trading him an old Dell laptop of just a laptop full of parts for this. And so I think that was a pretty good trade. I think I gave him a few bucks on top of it because he wanted more for this or whatever. But it's really cool. This is a Sonic Crescendo G3 500 megahertz card with 1 megabyte of L3 or L2 cache, probably L1 or L2 cache. So this is from 1998. I believe this plugs into like the 7200 or 7300 Power Max. Not exactly sure which one this plugs into. I have to look it up. But yeah, it's a processor upgrade card for Power Max, and that's really cool. I mean, this is pretty neat. 500 megahertz G3. I mean, I'm sure the bus speed of the Power Max is going to be terrible, but I thought this was really neat. So I wanted to show you guys that. I hope to do. Well, I'm in the process of doing a video about Macintosh clones, and the second part of that video, which I'm also still working on, is sort of a shootout between processors of the day. So like a Mac clone versus like 6400 Power Mac, things like that. You know, just trying to speed test them. And one of them has a G3 card already, so this card will maybe come in handy when I'm trying to do a shootout between those two machines. So I know I've been saying I've been doing that video for a while. It takes forever. I come down to the basement, I shoot a little part of the video, I get involved in something else. Life happens, work happens. So trying to do that, trying to finish that. I will hopefully have part 1 of that done fairly soon. So yeah, that's the G3 card I had here. Some more cool things to show you. Yeah, we'll go with this first. Who knows what a Laserdisc player is? Not a CD player, not a DVD player, a Laserdisc player. I am personally a huge fan of Laserdiscs, probably much to my wife's dismay. I have a collection of probably over 100 discs, and I love the format, and it's pretty cool. It's basically, before DVDs, there were these huge optical discs that were the size of a vinyl record, 12 inches or so. Yes, Technology Connections did a great Laserdisc series. I recommend you watch that. And so I have a few Laserdisc players myself. I have one still hooked up to my TV set. My HD TV has a Laserdisc player plugged into it. And the main reason is for like movies and stuff you can't get on DVD, like the original cut of Star Wars trilogy, Looney Tunes, stuff like that just like isn't on DVD. So yeah, I think I have Jurassic Park. I think I have a few copies of it actually. The one thing about collecting Laserdiscs that's kind of annoying is whenever you buy a player or whenever you try to buy a player, people are trying to give you like 100 movies. And instead of giving you a Laserdisc player that's maybe worth $150 or $200, they're asking for like $300, $400, $500 because they have 50 movies or 100 movies or more. And I don't need that many movies. I don't want that many movies. I probably have a bunch of those movies. I'm looking for stuff that's uncommon or stuff that I'm interested in, most of which I already have in my Laserdisc collection. So I'm not looking to add to that collection. I just want the darn player. And the reason I get more players is because a lot of them die, or they have belt issues and things like that, or they have capabilities that I don't have. I currently have a double side, both side play Laserdisc player with RF sound out and AC3 out and all that awesome stuff. Anyway, I'll do a video about Laserdiscs because and I didn't bring it over here. Hold on one second. I see it in the background here. Let me go grab it. It's Apple related, so hold on one second. This will be a good one. I'm on my way back. Just a second. Although the camera makes it look like there's a lot of space here, there is not. There is not. I don't have a lot of space here, so I'm like falling over myself. Anyway, what I was getting. First, I'll show you what a Laserdisc is. This is a Laserdisc. This is the Disney Pixar film Toy Story on Laserdisc. It's huge. So this is a analog video format with usually digital sound. So sometimes the sound was even better. Look at that reflection. Sometimes the sound was even better than what's on Blu-ray today. So you find them in stores. You usually have jackets like this. So why am I talking about Laserdiscs? Well, Apple released Laserdiscs. Look at this. Look at this. This is the Visual Almanac, an interactive multimedia kit. And what's inside? A Laserdisc. That's right. This thing, let me open it up here. Look at that Macintosh SE on the front of it. Did you guys even know this thing existed? When I found this out, it blew my mind. It was like my whole life in training for this. This, if I get this thing out of the box here, this is a multimedia educational tool. You see the Laserdisc is sealed. Look at this. And this is basically an encyclopedia. This is from 1993. I believe it was also released earlier, and this might be like a re-release of it. But this is like a classroom educational experience type thing where you look up stuff and you look through things. And how it works is essentially this Laserdisc has all the data on it, like the video and the audio and stuff. But you can control the Laserdisc player through your Mac. And that's what this little guide tells you how to do. So this is the companion, I think, for, oh geez, look at that. Registration card, we got to send that in. This is made by the Voyager company, I believe. And this guide is like the black and white guide, probably for the teacher's companion guide. Of those usually were like color, but this one's in black and white. Essentially, you get a Laserdisc player, but not any Laserdisc player. It has to be like an educational model or a professional, like industrial model. That's what they call them. And that Laserdisc player has a serial port on the back. And then you get a serial port cable, plugs in from the Laserdisc player to the Macintosh. And the Macintosh has like a HyperCard program or something, and it runs. You like open up like a menu, and you skip to different tracks on the Mac, and it appears. The Laserdisc advances. It skips a chapter or whatever. So that was very cool. So what the heck am I talking about that about is because, where did I put that box? Because I recently got this on eBay for like $8. And did the disc come with software for the Mac? Yes, it came with a CD-ROM called something. I forgot. I made a copy of it on my Mac in case I lost the disc. But yes, it came with the CD-ROM. Some came with floppy disks too. That was a question if the Laserdisc package came with the software for the Mac. But this is a barcode reader for a Laserdisc player. And again, this is really like for the educational or industrial models. And what this is, it's sort of like a pen. I'm not going to take it out of the box now. I'll do a video about it. But essentially, it's like a thick pen that you hold, and it has an infrared sensor on one end, or you could plug it into your Laserdisc player in order to communicate to the Laserdisc player. And then the other end is like a laser that reads barcodes. So a lot of the times in packages such as this Visual Almanac, I don't know if this one actually uses barcodes or not, might use the HyperTalk or the serial cable. But in order to have interactivity, like a teacher would have a sheet of barcodes, and I have one somewhere, so when I do the video, I'll show you guys. And you basically scan the barcode with the Laserdisc barcode pen, and it skips to that place in the disc because Laserdiscs had random access capabilities. So it's sort of like you're skipping a chapter on a DVD, but they also have frame stores. So you can have like thousands of images stored as a single frame on a Laserdisc. And so scanning a barcode could jump to a diagram or could jump to a video clip. So instead of having a remote control and entering like a 10-digit number to get to a certain point, you could use this little barcode pen. For new in the box for $8, I jumped on this. I was like, I need that. That's I was working on a Laserdisc video in the future anyway. I have the serial cable for the Laserdisc player. I did plug it into the Mac. I just didn't get it to work yet. There's all these settings and stuff. So that was one thing I wanted to show you guys. And of course, I put everything on top of my list here in a very professional way. So that's one thing down. Where's that? Okay. Oh, this is cool. All right. This is something I got years ago, and I didn't really know how special it was. And I'm just going to show you because I cannot contain my excitement anymore. And it's not the only one I have, but this is a press folder for the Apple Newton Personal Digital Assistant. Look at this. So this is a folder, just like a regular folder. Inside of this is what's cool. Look at this. Slides, which one was always missing. I don't think I lost it. Slides, printed press releases, Advanced Risk Machines Limited by ARM. Look at that. These are press releases about the Newton, third-party press contacts. They have these fold-out brochures and things like that. They have these. Let me try and pull them out carefully. I don't want to damage them here. There are these color accessory charts and guides for the Apple Newton. Look at this beautiful printed quality. And so this folder I got at the Trend to Computer Festival probably 2011, 2012, years ago. And I have another one that's for Macintosh Performa. Has basically the same stuff in it, press releases, slides, whole 9 yards. Really cool. I mean, these slides looks like it's from July of 1993. They're dated, but I'll pull one of them out just so you could see. You might be able to even see with the transparency because there's enough light here. But look at that. That's one of the slides there. So that's like 2 people talking. Let's see if it'll focus. Might not. I have a slide scanner. I could actually probably scan these in as well. But let's see. There we go. Kind of. So you'll focus on my finger. Whatever. You get the point. They're slides. So they're transparencies. They're images that the press would usually, like an individual from a newspaper or a TV station would take this folder home after a press conference or whatever, and they would use this to write an article or make a review or something. So this is packed with, there's a whole thing about Newton technology here. This is just packed with goodies. And so I thought this was really cool. But if you thought this was cool, this is just one folder. Let me show you something else I have that I also picked up at that same flea market years ago. And these are Apple Support Tools resource guides. And I'll put this one over here because I have another. This one's heavier because it's more full. And these are a treasure trove of information. Look at this. This is an Apple newsletter called the Applegram. This is from September 20th, 1989. Talking about the Macintosh Portable. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And I'll probably have to do a whole video on this because this stuff is pretty cool. You have product data sheets in here. So you have like a Macintosh Quadra there. Some of these are photocopied, some of them are original. There's one for the Macintosh LC. See? You have compatibility charts. You have troubleshooting information. This was basically, if you were an Apple support representative or an Apple retailer or reseller, you would have this in your office. This is what you would have. There are a lot of booklets and things in here. Manuals and, not manuals, guides and specifications and stuff like that. Not service manuals. So they're not service manuals in here, but they're product guides. So like this is for the laser writer. And look, it's going to talk all about the laser writer and why you should buy it. Selling points of it, stuff like that. And it just I've never seen any of these things online. I've seen some for later models, but if I could close this correctly, I did start scanning this in years ago, and I never really finished, but I will continue at one point. It's just that it's very time intensive, obviously. Let me show you the other one real quick. This one came to me mostly blank, but someone on Twitter posted some recent Apple product data sheets. And when I say recent, I mean like 2000 or 1999. And so I printed out my own copies. So here's one for the Power Macintosh 9600. Here's one for the Power Macintosh Workgroup Server 9650. Try to do them in order, you know. Here's one for the beautiful G3 that we were looking at before. Look at that. And so this guy on Twitter, name escapes me, he's like Apple Vintage Mac or something. He found a CD-ROM that had all these PDFs on it, and he was kind enough to archive them and share them. And so a lot of them are like spec sheets. So this will tell you, you know, Macbench 5, which is a software benchmark tool. It'll tell you like how fast the machine is, how much memory it could take. Again, these are tools for a reseller or a support agent that may be trying to upgrade a computer or sell you a computer or whatever. You have a guide for the Apple Studio display technologies. Really cool stuff. And of course, we go all the way up to the iMac here. So these are ones I printed my own, but punched holes and then put them in a binder. They look really cool. I mean, this is really neat, these support tools guides. I saw some CDs online. I don't know if those support tool CDs have the same type of stuff in it. But what this has, which I have not seen on the Internet Archive or anything else anywhere, are these wonderful newsletters called Applegrams. I mean, look at this, July 9th, 1990. And these are like newsletters. They have multiple pages in them. And like this is talking about the Macintosh Portable. They're talking about the laser writer. Look at this. The Apple Portrait display is up here. I have a video about that, or I showed it on a video recently. Just really cool stuff. I mean, I've never seen any of this stuff online. So I will be trying to scan this in. I want to archive it. I don't want to hog it all. There's some really cool stuff here that other people should be able to look at. You know, on a rainy day, it's fun to just go through them and just see what there is. There's also some of this like last minute stuff. And what I mean is that it's just like text. Apple 2GS System Software 5.03. Question: I have heard that the new version of the 2GS software is now available. What has changed since the last version? Answer: Apple 2GS System Software fixes several bugs in the system software. Includes a completely new ImageWriter 2 and ImageWriter LQ drivers. Blah, blah, blah. And it goes on like this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But gives you an idea what's in here. I've had these for a few years. And I thought, you know, maybe others might have had them, but maybe not. I mean, here's the whole thing about System 7. I mean, awesome, awesome stuff. So take these to the grave with me. No, they're really cool. So I wanted to show you that. Winding down here on these things I want to show you guys. This was really lucky. I was at a thrift store while I was on vacation and found these cables. They're basically new. They have this little twist tie on them. All right, you may be thinking just a modem cable, just a you know, serial cable. That's actually a local talk cable. So you can see the 3 pins. Well, maybe you can. Let's see if it'll focus there. There you go. You see the 3 pins there for local talk? I found this cable in May. Went back to that thrift store in June. Found this, a local talk bridge, you know, one of these little adapters. So you plug the local talk cable in on one side, plug another one on one side to bridge a connection. This is awesome. I never saw these really in the wild. So they were like $1 or $2 each. So I got the little adapter here, got the local talk cable. I'm going to do a video about local talk stuff. And speaking of local talk stuff, that leads me to the next item that I recently got off eBay. And I can pull this out here carefully. It's new in the box, so I'm not going to open it yet. But I've been on a bit of a kick with my Apple Image Writer lately. The Apple Image Writer 2 is a dot matrix printer. And the reason I've been playing around with it, I had one when I was young, and it was fun, but I got a lot of paper for it. When I mean a lot, I got 1,000 pages of paper for it for $2. And I was like, okay, I guess I could print stuff now. And while I was hooking up the printer, I was reading a bit about it, memory expansions and things like that. And I learned about, while I was doing my research for the local talk and Apple Talk video I'm going to make, I learned about this thing. This is an upgrade card for the Apple Image Writer 2 or the Image Writer LQ. And this is a local talk option or an Apple Talk option. They use the same terminology. Different boxes were made. This is sealed from the factory in the box. I'll probably open it for a video when I'm doing the video, but this is cool. What this allows you to do is that Image Writer printer is usually, just designed to accept a connection from one computer. Even if you had the wires for it, it can only accept data from one machine. It doesn't know how to handle networked computers and things like that. This allows you to share that printer over a network. So that means I could share that printer between 2 Macs or something like that. Did I need this? No, I did not. Was it pricey? Yeah, probably a little more than I wanted to spend on it. But it was sealed, and I thought it was really neat. You can still see the sticker on the side there. But I want to use this. I'm not going to leave it in the box. I thought it was really cool. It's not something you would probably see every day. I did see one on Craigslist about a year ago, maybe less. But they wanted $200 for a Mac LC, an Image Writer 2, a monitor, and that upgrade card. And I asked if they were going to be flexible on the price. I didn't want another monitor or another LC. I don't need that stuff. I just wanted the printer thing, but they wanted to sell it as a bundle, and that was the end of that. So I got one now. I don't need that, but it sort of sparked my interest in that. So I thought, okay, that'll be cool. So yeah, I could use my new Local Talk cables with that Local Talk adapter. Let's see, anything else I want to mention? I think that's about. Oh wait, one more thing. As you probably saw in my previous video, I had this little Alps Glidepad, and basically it's a laptop-style trackpad you can plug into any Mac that has an ADB port. So you can plug it into like a PowerBook Duo, which has a trackball, which may be stuck or maybe broken, and you could use it on like a Power Mac desktop or something, as long as it has the older style ADB port. And I think this is really cool. I always liked them. I've had this one for a while. I bought another one off eBay. It was like $6 or something. And if you want to pick one up, I highly suggest you do so. There's plenty of them online. Just look at the back. Make sure that it says, focus. Make sure it says it's for Apple compatible computers. Why? They made a PS2 or Windows compatible one, and it looks identical. The port looks almost the same. So if there's not a good picture on eBay, it's very hard to tell, especially if the seller doesn't list it as being a Mac or an Apple thing. Some people won't even read the label. So if you see one on eBay, if it's in a box or not in a box or something, send the guy a message on eBay. Send the seller a message. See if it's an Apple compatible one. Again, just have them check the label on the back. I think these are really cool. Maybe you're not a big fan of them. I think they're really neat. And I was happy to pick one up for a few bucks. And last but not least, where did I put that? I have things all over the place here, so I've sort of walled myself in with goodies that I wanted to show you guys. Oh yeah, here's the Glidepad. See, so I have 2 now. Yay! Yeah. Oh, here it is. Let me carefully take this off. Here. One second. Okay. So, who likes old mouse pads? I was cleaning up my parents' place, found an old magazine, old Star Wars Insider magazine from around 1996, 1997, 98, something like that. And I saw a mouse pad in that magazine that I had to have. It was a Rebel Assault mousepad. If you don't know what that is, a Rebel Assault was a popular computer and console video game back in the 90s. And this mousepad was in that magazine. I had to have it. Somebody had one on eBay. I think they still have a few, actually, if you want to just search Rebel Assault mousepad. It's sealed. Look at this. It still has the barcode on the back of it. I mean, I love it. I love the scene of it. This is, I think it's taken from the artwork of the cover of the game, but I just love I'm a Star Wars nerd. You know, this is really cool to me. So when I saw the mousepad in that magazine, I thought, oh, I wish I had that. And I did a search, and it came up, and I'm like, I think it was like $14 or $13. It wasn't too bad. I just had to buy it. So I thought that was really cool. It's sealed. I'll probably open it. Because I mean, if I'm gonna get something and it's sealed, what am I? I'm not gonna use it. That's just sort of wasteful. But I thought it was really neat. Obviously, mouse pads aren't too much needed on some machines with the optical mice, but some of them have trouble tracking on weird surfaces. So mouse pad, not such a bad idea. So that let me check my list here. That may cover what I wanted to show you guys today. Yeah, that's about it. Wow, we've been talking for almost an hour. Anybody have any questions? Anything they want to ask? Anything you don't want to ask? Any computers you want me to show off, or videos you want me to cover stuff on? Now's your time. Ask your question. But if we don't have any questions, I'll probably end it in a sec. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the feedback, the comments. It's always nice to talk and get some feedback back. I do have some other stuff that I'll probably share. This was accumulating for weeks and months. I didn't just go on a spending spree. I don't have money to do that. That's crazy. So this is just stuff I wanted to show you today. Thought it'd be cool to do it, just an informal thing. Videos like this take exactly as long to make as I film it. So I'm not slaving away in iMovie or Final Cut Pro, editing things for hours and hours until you see a video. This is very interactive, and it's fun to do. So I appreciate you guys watching. Please go to Mac84 .net. There's links to my YouTube channel there, which you're probably viewing this on YouTube now. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. I probably post more on Instagram. I do have a Patreon. I have no Patreon people backing me currently. That's not a plug. I'm just saying. I do post exclusive things to that, though, just behind the scenes stuff like that. And that's just something that I've been working on. So follow me on those routes. You got a question here. What's a good price for a dual-core Power Mac G5 2.3 gigahertz model? I have no idea, to be honest with you. But I will give you a website that will tell you a ballpark figure. Mac2sell.net, Mac and the number 2, sell.net. So that's MAC, number 2, SELL.net. Go there, put in the processor speed, all the specs. It'll give you a pretty good estimate of what it's worth. Of course, when you're buying something, you have to think, what is it worth to you? The Power Mac G3 blue and white, I typed in the specs for that online. It said it was worth $0. So is it worth $0 to me? I mean, I would pay maybe $10 for it. I don't know. So be subjective with what you see on that website, but I think they're pretty good. I mean, I think I was looking for a Mac Pro on Craigslist once, and I put it into Mac2sell.net, and it said it was like worth $150 or $200 because it was a very old model or whatever. And I thought, that was a fair estimate. I think some of the G4 towers, they said they were worth like $40, $50 depending on the specs. So yeah, it depends on what it's worth to you. This individual says their eMac is priceless to them. It's all subjective. I have 2 eMacs. Quite frankly, I don't care for them because they're big and bulky and I don't have space for them. That's the only reason I'm not a huge fan. I did keep them though because the display is pretty cool and the hard drive is the only thing that's busted. Maybe I'll get it working. So maybe I'll give the eMac some love in a future episode. I just have to open it up and change the hard drive of it. Well, a lot of questions. Jeez. Let's see. Which machine that you don't have would you most want? Um, yeah, you made the space for the eMac. Yeah, they're pretty bulky and heavy, but they're pretty cool. I try to think of a Mac I would want. A Mac Portable would be cool, but there's a guy who has one for sale. It's kind of far away. It's a few states away. He doesn't really know how much he wants for it. He has the box apparently, but it has some issues. The battery, I think, is busted. I think he probably wants $200 for it or so. He has a case for it. I think it's a very good deal. Well, am I going to make the trip and buy it? Probably not. Do I need it? No. I think it's really cool. I do have some pretty rare Macs already that I haven't shown. Let me give you guys a little sneak peek because you stayed here so long. Look at that. That is a shelf full of computers. Can you see what's on the very top there? That is a Macintosh TV. That is a black Macintosh LC model dubbed the Macintosh TV. Has a TV tuner in it. It's black. Has a black keyboard, black mouse. For those of you that didn't see it, Macintosh TV right above that gray Apple box. That's up there. It does not work. It came to me damaged. I bought it damaged. Paid probably more than I wanted to for it, but when was I going to find a Macintosh TV with a driving distance that cosmetically looked okay, and the only thing I was really broken was the board. And I could probably just swap it with another LC board. So other than that, I'm trying to think of Macs that I would want that I don't have. I have a lot. I have a lot of Macs. I have too many. I have this Apple III here that I stumbled upon. I don't even want to tell you what I paid for this because it's not a lot. Well, I'll tell you. I paid $50 for the Apple III with the profile hard drive with the monitor, plus they threw in iMac G3 Graphite, an iBook G3 Blueberry, a Performa Macintosh Power Mac like 6100, and the eMac. $50. I mean, this. I went to pick up the Blueberry LCD for the G3, the matching G3 monitor. I think I paid like $20 for the monitor. And as I'm leaving, I literally have it. I'm carrying it out. I'm saying goodbye to the guy, saying thank you. And I said, hey, if you ever have any other computer stuff, let me know. He says, why don't you come upstairs? You know, it never hurts to ask when you're talking to someone if they're buying something, or if you're buying something from them, see what they have. I mean, that was incredible. I was there for hours. I emailed the guy. I'm still keeping in touch with him. He has a box of old software, old floppy disks, old system software, old CD-ROMs that I would love to look through and archive. He has a lot of personal data. He was very worried about the personal data on these machines. So I wiped everything before I left. Thankfully, he had some system disks. I was able to boot things up. Oh, I also got the 6520 or 60 or 9220, a big Power Mac G workgroup server, basically 9600, but a workgroup server. That was also included in that. That was like, so he was very nice. Yeah, I think the Mac to Sell site people are saying are maybe a little iffy, but I mean, maybe it's not updated recently. But anyway, yeah, that was a steal. I don't really. All right, I could tell you one Mac I would want was a Quadra 700 or Quadra 900. I always thought those looked really cool. The towers, those are really cool. I don't have one. I would like to have one. I'm not going to pay hundreds of dollars for it. That's not that's not something I'm willing to do. I'm not going to pay $100 for, or more than $100 for one of those. The problem is a lot of these Macs, the capacitors are going, they're leaking. People that find them look at a price on eBay, think, oh, mine's worth that. They might not have the ability to test it. So I'm not willing to spend a lot of money on something that I can't test and I can't verify. So you get lucky and you win some, you lose some. That deal on the Apple III and the other machines that came with it, I probably won't have another deal like that anytime soon. That was one in a million. That also, I didn't tell you guys, trying to get that monitor, because it was a bit of a drive away from me, about an hour, 2 hours away from me. I was trying to schedule picking up just the monitor for months, literally months. I would message the guy, I would text him, he wouldn't call back, I'd leave him voicemails. I almost gave up. I'm glad I didn't, because I got a whole lot of goodies with the monitor. But if you're on Letgo or Facebook Marketplace, or you're trying to buy something off people, it's difficult. It's not always easy to get stuff. And I'm not trying to scam anybody off of anything. I asked the guy what he wanted for those. He told me a price, and I agreed to it. I wasn't going to pay more than what he was asking. And I was trying to be nice about it. But yeah, like the individual in the comments says, the best deals seem to one that are not expected. That is very true. And I think that speaks volumes of old computer collecting. But you win some, you lose some. The Mac TV I got, it's busted. The motherboard shot. Some of the other stuff I have is in states of disrepair. I got a Quadra 840 AV tower, probably back in 2008 or 2009, for $5. It worked then, doesn't work now. Something's wrong with the capacitors. I have to replace it. It's give and take. So I'm not going to ramble on too much here, but yeah, there's maybe one or two, now that I think of it, Macs that I would like to have that I don't have. And that's just something that maybe I'll pick up in the future. I don't have a lot of space for a lot of these machines. I'm trying to get rid of things like the Apple III here that are really cool, but I just don't have the space for it. I don't have the time for it. I'd rather go to somebody that would use it and appreciate it and enjoy it, because that's what I enjoy about these machines. If they're interesting to me, I'll play around with them. If they're not, I'm not. Questions before I sign off here. Don't want to keep you guys too long. You've been very patient, all 4 or 5 of you. Don't want to take up too much more of your time. It's probably late in the evening for you as well. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate doing these videos. I will try and do them on Instagram as well, but YouTube makes it easier. I could have a tripod I have plugged into a computer. Instagram, I have to hold the phone. I did a live video a few minutes ago that didn't work out too well because I was like this the entire time. So that's about it. So I'm doing a few videos coming up. Please keep an eye out on Twitter and Instagram, Patreon, wherever you want, and right here on YouTube. I appreciate you subscribing, and thanks for your comments and everything. And yeah, have a good night, guys. Take care. And I'm going to try and hit the end stream button without knocking over a bunch of G3 and G4 towers here. So thanks again.